Man, the energy is already wild heading into this Ravens and Browns clash. We're only in week 2, but the talking hasn't stopped, and honestly, it feels like Cleveland players are more focused on the microphone than the playbook right now. Every couple of days, there's a new headline, some new shot fired, and the latest one? Oh, that came from safety Grant Delpit. He was asked about Derrick Henry and how tough it is to bring him down. Now, most guys around the league would give you the standard respectful answer. Something like, yeah, he's a monster, he's one of the hardest guys in football to tackle, but we're ready for the challenge. Instead, Delpit just looked straight ahead and said, not hard. Not hard. 2 little words that woke up a beast. Derrick Henry doesn't need help getting motivated. He's built his career stiff-arming defenders into highlight reels. But when someone flat out says he's easy to bring down, that's just asking for trouble. And Henry clapped back instantly. He didn't go on some long rant. He didn't give reporters a headline with paragraphs of trash talk. He just smiled and said, "We'll see you on Sunday." Short, simple, and sharp. That's the kind of response that lets you know he's got those words pinned in his locker. And when kickoff comes, he's going to be looking for number 22 in orange and brown. This is the AFC North. You don't need bulletin board material to get hyped. You already know it's going to be physical, nasty, and personal every single snap. But Cleveland keeps throwing gas on the fire. It started when Jerry Jeudy ran his mouth about the Ravens secondary, saying they don't bring any challenges. Now, look, you could argue Baltimore's defensive backs didn't have their best showing in week 1, but when you've got 5 former first-round picks in that unit, saying they're no challenge at all? That's bold, and it's reckless. Now add in Delpit's comments about Henry, and suddenly this week 2 matchup feels like it's being played in December with the division on the line. What makes it even spicier is the timing. The Browns are celebrating the 30th anniversary of their franchise's return, and guess who's in town for that party? The team that left Cleveland and became the Baltimore Ravens. It's already emotional for the fans, already symbolic for the franchise, and then you add in this trash talk. You can feel the tension buzzing through the air. Browns fans are treating it like fate, but the truth is, when that whistle blows, all the backstory, all the anniversaries, all the comments vanish. It's just 60 minutes of football, and one team is going to walk out with bragging rights. But here's the part that makes Delpit's comment even crazier. Last season, Derrick Henry played Cleveland twice while wearing purple and black. And in those 2 games, he racked up over 200 yards, 3 touchdowns, and averaged almost 7 yards a carry. That's not just productive, that's dominant. He's already shown the Browns defense what he can do, and yet somehow, they come into this week claiming he's easy to tackle. That's not confidence, that's delusion. And the Browns' own media team didn't help. They posted a clip of Delpit hitting Henry on a run that still went for a first down. That's the play they wanted to brag about. Imagine celebrating a defensive highlight on a double-digit yard gain that moved the chains. It's like clapping for stopping a train after it's already barreled 10 miles down the track. Baltimore fans saw that and laughed. Ravens players saw that and circled the game on the calendar. Even guys inside the Ravens locker room have been asked about this so-called bulletin board material. Safety Kyle Hamilton, who's wise beyond his years, gave the professional answer. He said he doesn't buy into the whole idea. He plays hard regardless. He doesn't need someone else's words to get locked in. And honestly, that's true. If you're a pro, you're supposed to bring your best no matter what. But not everyone's wired the same way. Some players feed off disrespect, and Derrick Henry looks like one of those guys. When someone doubts him, he runs angrier, harder, and stronger. And that's the last thing Cleveland should want this weekend. We've seen this story before. Opposing players get too bold, they say too much, and suddenly they're eating their words while being dragged across the turf. Henry has embarrassed defenders from every division in football, and he's put some of the biggest names on posters with his stiff arms. You can line up his highlight reel from the past few seasons, and it's basically a graveyard of defensive backs who thought they could bring him down one-on-one. So when Delpit says, not hard, you know Ravens fans are licking their chops waiting to see how that plays out. The Browns' defense deserves credit for what they did against Cincinnati in Week 1. They held Joe Burrow and that offense to almost nothing, including just 7 yards in the entire second half. That was elite work. They bottled up the run game, played tight coverage, and made life miserable for one of the best quarterbacks in football. But the Bengals don't run like Baltimore, and they don't have Derrick Henry in the backfield. Shutting down Cincinnati doesn't automatically mean you're going to bully Henry. That's a whole different challenge. And deep down, Cleveland fans know it. At first, they were hyped when Jerry Jeudy disrespected the Ravens secondary. But when Del Pitt came out with that Henry comment, even Browns fans were like, all right, maybe pump the brakes. And that's the difference between confidence and arrogance. Confidence is saying, we respect our opponent, but we believe in ourselves. Arrogance is acting like one of the greatest running backs of this generation is a pushover. Henry's not just a back who gets his yards in garbage time. He's the guy who wears down defenses in the first quarter and then crushes their spirits in the fourth. He's a freight train that doesn't slow down. And now? Now he's running with extra motivation. Baltimore doesn't need any extra fire for this rivalry game, but Cleveland went ahead and provided it anyway. And the Ravens have been here before. They've heard the talk, they've seen the quotes, and they know how to respond. They let their play do the talking. And when you look at Henry's track record against the Browns, history says this trash talk isn't going to age well for Cleveland. That's where we're at heading into this Week 2 showdown. The Browns want to act like it's easy. The Ravens are smiling quietly, letting their running back prepare to do the talking with his pads. One side is throwing words, the other side is waiting for Sunday to throw stiff arms. And when those two philosophies collide, you can bet it won't be quiet for long. The Ravens front office always seems to be one step ahead, and this week they made a quiet but very smart move that could have a major impact as the season unfolds. With the team sitting on less than $1 million in cap space, they decided to restructure Roquan Smith's contract. They converted a big chunk of his base salary into a bonus, which freed up around $8 million in cap space. On the surface, it might look like just a numbers game, but in reality, this was a calculated move that could give Baltimore options in the very near future. Think about it. $8 million in breathing room doesn't just sit there collecting dust. That's ammunition. It means if the Ravens want to add a veteran at a position of need, if they want to pull the trigger on a mid-season trade, or if an injury forces them to act quickly, they now have the financial flexibility to do it. It also sends a subtle message to the locker room. It's the front office reminding every player that the roster is never set in stone. If you don't perform, if you don't hold up your end, there's always someone out there who could take your spot. That kind of pressure is healthy for a contender because it forces everyone to stay sharp and avoid getting complacent. Naturally, when that move was announced, the first name on everybody's lips was Jadeveon Clowney. Baltimore fans remember exactly what he brought to this defense last year. He was disruptive, he was physical, and he fit the Ravens' identity perfectly. He gave them consistency off the edge that they desperately needed. When reports came out that he had visited Dallas but left without a deal, eyebrows immediately went up. Suddenly, the Ravens' clearing cap space started to look less like a coincidence and more like preparation. But it doesn't have to be Clowney. That's the beauty of the move. $8 million in cap space gives Baltimore choices. It could be another veteran edge rusher. It could be a mid-season trade for a corner if depth becomes an issue. It could even be insurance at another position we aren't thinking about yet. The Ravens pride themselves on flexibility, and this restructure is the perfect example of how they operate. They're not going to let the cap box them in. Now, if it is Clowney, the interesting question becomes, who makes room for him on the roster? David Ojabo was inactive in Week 1, and his future has been under the microscope. The team has high hopes for him, but the injuries and inconsistency have slowed his progress. Would adding Clowney mean moving on from him completely, or would it simply push him further down the depth chart? That's the kind of tough decision championship teams make. You can't carry guys just for potential when you're chasing a Super Bowl. You need production. There's also the reality that Baltimore's pass rush wasn't where it needed to be in Week 1. Facing Josh Allen is never easy, but outside of a few flashes, the pressure just wasn't consistent. If you're going to slow down quarterbacks like Allen, Burrow, and Mahomes, you can't give them clean pockets. And that's what Clowney or any other proven rusher would bring. He doesn't need 10 sacks to change a game. Just collapsing the pocket, forcing throws off schedule, and setting the edge against the run can tilt the field. But before fans start penciling Clowney back into purple and black, you have to consider his side too. If he walked out of Dallas without signing, that tells us one of two things. Either the Cowboys didn't offer him what he wanted, or he still views himself as more valuable than most front offices do. If it's the latter, then Baltimore isn't going to overpay. Eric DeCosta has always drawn the line on value. The Ravens won't get desperate and hand out bad contracts just because fans want a reunion. They'll wait, they'll negotiate, and they'll only move when the price is right. Even if Clowney isn't the answer, the message is clear. Baltimore wants options. They want flexibility, and they want to keep every door open. This is how smart franchises operate. While other teams scramble to fix problems in the middle of the year, the Ravens are preparing ahead of time. They're making sure that when the moment comes, they won't be handcuffed by the cap. And honestly, this could also serve as a wake-up call to some of the young pass rushers on the roster. Guys like Odafe Oweh and Tavius Robinson know they have talent, but talent alone doesn't win games. The Ravens need consistency. They need pressure every week, not just in flashes. When the front office clears $8 million in space, that's a signal. It's them saying, step up now, or we'll bring someone else in who will. That kind of internal competition is what makes the Ravens' locker room so intense. Everyone knows their spot can be taken at any moment. The timing of this move is also fascinating. It came right after the Week 1 collapse against Buffalo. Baltimore had that game in hand and let it slip away. That type of loss hurts, and it leaves scars. But it also forces a team to look in the mirror. The restructure of Roquan's deal might have been planned, but rolling it out after that kind of loss adds a layer of urgency. It's the front office showing the team that they aren't sitting still. They're not content with almost. They're making moves to ensure that kind of ending doesn't happen again. Now imagine the ripple effect if they do bring in another pass rusher. That would allow Mike McDonald to get creative with his rotations, to keep guys fresh, and to send waves of pressure at opposing quarterbacks. The Ravens love versatility, and adding another experienced edge would give them just that. It would also take some of the burden off young players who are still finding their rhythm. That's how you build a defense that lasts through the grind of a 17-game season. One more thing to consider here is special teams. If Baltimore does add someone like Clowney, he's not going to contribute on punts or kick coverage. That means someone else will need to be deactivated or moved, and it could come from a position fans don't expect. Those little roster gymnastics are always tricky, but again, this is what DeCosta and the Ravens front office specialize in. They find ways to make it work without losing the core of what makes their team strong. So while some fans look at cap moves as boring, just paperwork behind the scenes, this one is different. This one has teeth. This one has the potential to change the roster and the season. Whether it's Clowney or someone else, the Ravens just gave themselves the freedom to act. And in the NFL, where one injury or one weakness can derail an entire campaign, that kind of foresight can be the difference between a good season and a great one. Before we dive in, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. Your support keeps us bringing you the latest news on the Baltimore Ravens. And hey, drop your take in the comments below. We want to hear from the flock. In what is already shaking the NFL rumor mill, the Baltimore Ravens are reportedly making waves with a move that could reshape their offensive line for the coming season. Sources close to the team are buzzing about a trade confirmed with the Dallas Cowboys, signaling that guard Cooper BEEBE is now officially a Raven. While the deal itself may not have dominated headlines just yet, the implications are causing serious speculation among fans and analysts alike. BEEBE, known for his gritty work ethic and solid run-blocking skills, has been a consistent presence on the Cowboys line, though his potential has often been overshadowed by bigger names. Moving to Baltimore could provide him the platform to step into a more prominent role, especially in a franchise that has made no secret of its desire to fortify the trenches. Rumors suggest that the Ravens coaching staff has been eyeing upgrades in the interior line for some time, and BEEBE's arrival might be exactly what they've been looking for. The NFL community is already dissecting what this trade could mean for both teams. For the Cowboys, letting go of BEEBE opens up roster flexibility, possibly signaling confidence in their younger guards or a shift in their draft strategy. Meanwhile, Ravens fans are speculating on how quickly BEEBE will adapt to a new system known for its aggressive, fast-paced offensive schemes. Analysts are weighing whether his skill set can match Baltimore's need for both solid pass protection and drive-heavy run blocking, and early chatter leans toward optimism. As the news spreads through social media and locker room whispers, the excitement is palpable. Some insiders hint that BEEBE's move might not just be about immediate performance, but could be part of a longer-term strategy to build a more versatile, resilient line. The Ravens have a history of quietly making key adjustments that later prove pivotal, and if BEEBE fits into that pattern, this could be one of the most understated yet impactful trades of the offseason. While official statements have been minimal, fans and sports commentators alike are already imagining the possibilities. How BEEBE will mesh with existing line mates, what role he'll take in high-stakes games, and whether this trade could become a defining moment in Baltimore's next campaign. If the buzz is any indication, Cooper Beebe as a Raven is a story that's just beginning, and it might just be the spark for a whole new chapter in both his career and the team's strategy. That's it for this update. If you enjoyed the video and want to stay in the loop with exclusive news on our Baltimore Ravens, make sure to subscribe and hit that like button. We'd love to hear what the flock thinks. Drop your thoughts in the comments. See you in the next one.